Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I've been working with Judy and Aaron for probably 4 years now, and I'm excited to say that this year I'm now on the board, which is very exciting. So today I'm going to talk a little bit, I do work at eBay, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've been doing over the last year and a half, or what our team has been doing there, and kind of update you on some projects if you were here last year that we were working on. So hopefully after everyone that's completed Project Green Challenge over the last month or so, can you raise your hand if you have ever purchased something used? Hopefully it's everyone. Okay, and raise your hand now if you have ever sold something used. All right, pretty good. Kind of like Dr. Bronner, I was hoping to have the same turnout. So a little bit of background, over 16 years ago, Pierre Omier founded eBay Marketplaces on the fact that the idea of value is something relatively subjective. Case in point, the first thing that was sold on eBay was a broken laser point pen, and he sold it for about $15 to someone 3 states over who needed it for parts. So this idea in '95 might have sounded a little bit innovative, might have sounded new. Clearly it's not that new now. We've got things like Yurtle, we've got things like Airbnb, we've got Ride Relay, etc. A lot of, we're already talked about this today, and you guys have experienced a lot of those through the challenges over the last month. So it's not new, but I think what is important to note is that though some of these things have been going on for a long time, economically and environmentally today, it's needed more than ever. And that's some of the stuff that you guys have been discovering over the last month. So eBay is not the only one. We're, I think, one of the largest ones and one of the players that are in this space globally, but it's not new. So the question that I think my colleagues and I have around sustainability is, what do we do with a business model like ours, and how do we make this something that's really intentional and not just a passive platform? So the first thing we set out to do was figure out exactly what was happening on our platform and understand some of the more material environmental benefit there. So we partnered with a company called Cooler to calculate the carbon savings associated with used products, or the resources avoided by not manufacturing new stuff. And we looked at 3 main categories: golf clubs, leather handbags, laptop computers. And here's a stat for golf clubs, for an important reason I'll get to later. The purchase of used golf drivers instead of new ones over a 3-year period on eBay has avoided the release of 120,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. And just to give you some context, that's about half of what our company's global carbon footprint was in 2010. And that's one category. We have more than 50,000 categories. So then we thought, okay, it really is having an impact. There really is material good in buying things pre-owned or using things that are pre-owned. How do we innovate on top of that model to really push consumers to adopt this? And how do we speed things up so they can share it across their networks? We've got a few examples of programs like that. eBay Instant Sale is one of them I'm not going to touch on today. But last year I spoke here, and it was a couple months after we had launched a partnership with Patagonia. I was just noticing my pictures up here, so it wasn't sitting up there. No, it's not. I just saw it here. Sorry. So we launched a partnership with Patagonia, and the really interesting thing that I wanted to share with you guys is both the business decision and this social or environmental decision behind this. So at the same time that these conversations were happening, we were learning about the good that was happening from used products and trying to brainstorm how we could innovate and speed that up. We're looking at what was happening with our business. If any of you have shopped on eBay in the last few years, hopefully you've looked at green.ebay.com, but maybe also fashion.ebay.com. And you'll see that it's had a pretty big makeover. eBay's doubled down on a few categories: electronics, fashion, etc. So fashion.ebay.com is getting a bit of a makeover, and the fashion team, one of their key lines of work is forging partnerships with brands and bringing merchandise onto the site in different formats, sometimes an online outlet, sometimes flash sale, etc. But a lot of this inventory is new, and so we thought, what if we could take this model and something that's really important to the business in growing right now, and actually use it to encourage the trade of used goods. So at the same time, Patagonia was launching their Common Threads initiative to encourage customers to reduce, to repair, recycle, and emphasizing product durability. So the timing was perfect, and our 2 teams got together and launched the Patagonia Common Threads storefront on eBay, where you can list an item, a pre-owned item, and you can take the pledge to reuse, and your item will show up in a branded Patagonia storefront, as well as on a new used section on Patagonia's site. This is where I want to show a video really quick.
With the beginning of the recession, we noticed that first, people were starting to buy less stuff. Second, they were starting to buy stuff that was better made, that would last longer. And third, they were starting to buy more used.
And so we went down and we talked to them, the PGA Trade-In Network. And I got to tell you, if you could have asked me who would have called next and wanted to do a program like this, I would not have said golfers. But they were really interested, and they have a program, a trade-in network that's in existence already, 10,000 professionals across 6,600 locations in the US, and they promote and accept trade-ins of golf clubs. And then they work to either resell them in their store or make sure they get into the hands of younger golfers or make the game more affordable. But that's kind of where it had stopped, right? So the next stage of this was mobilizing from a technology perspective and from the networks. And so we worked with them, and we recently launched just in August at the PGA Expo, the Pro Shops, which is a branded storefront in partnership with PGA professionals. We've got 149 PGA professionals in the storefront and almost 10,000 used golf club listings currently up on the store today. So it's amazing the kind of people that can get inspired by this sharing network. I think what you guys have done both in on your campuses and in your own lives, as well as looking to inspire brands and global companies about what makes sense for them. I think there's a lot of this movement that feels like, that's not right for me, or okay, I'll get to that, or that's really cool that Patagonia can do it, because Patagonia is a super committed, credible environmental brand. And so just to have someone like the PGA be so truly invested in this was really encouraging for me as someone working now in corporate America. So the last thing I just wanted to end on, I think Walter's already gone, but I mentioned this to him earlier. He was talking a little bit about courage, and I wanted to mention, as far as what some of my biggest lessons in the last year and a half have been, is about encouragement and about making sure you're connected with your networks. So Walter talked about courage and talked about how the word courage doesn't mean absence of fear. For me, learning the word encourage literally means to inspire to courage. So from a network perspective, from your friends, from who's on your campus, from your teammates and finalists in Project Green Challenge, just to really encourage you guys to find out how you get encouraged, stay encouraged, and keep encouraging others. Thank you.